In 1960, Nigeria stood at the cusp of a new era, a momentous occasion that would forever alter the course of its history. The nation had just gained independence from British colonial rule, a moment brimming with hope and aspirations. The air was filled with a sense of newfound freedom and the promise of a brighter future. The world watched with bated breath as Africa's most populous nation embarked on a journey of self-determination. International media covered the celebrations extensively, capturing the joy and excitement of the Nigerian people. Nigeria possessed vast natural resources, fertile land, and a vibrant cultural tapestry. Its rich soil promised bountiful harvest, and its mineral wealth held the potential for economic prosperity. Its people, known for their resilience and entrepreneurial spirit, were eager to build a prosperous and unified nation. Communities came together, working hand in hand to lay the foundations of a new Nigeria. The future seemed bright, full of promise and the potential for greatness. The dawn of independence brought with it a renewed sense of purpose and a collective vision for a better tomorrow. The early years of independence were marked by optimism and a sense of unity. People from different walks of life came together to celebrate their newfound freedom and to work towards a common goal. Nigeria adopted a parliamentary system of government, drawing inspiration from its former colonizers. The new political structure aimed to provide a stable and democratic framework for the nation's growth. The economy showed signs of growth, fueled by agriculture and the beginnings of industrial development. Farmers and industrialists alike were optimistic about the future, investing their efforts into building a robust economy. There was a shared belief that Nigeria could overcome its colonial past and emerge as a beacon of progress in Africa. Education and community leadership were seen as key drivers of this transformation. However, beneath the surface of this newfound optimism, cracks began to appear. Political unrest and social tension started to simmer, hinting at the challenges that lay ahead. Ethnic and regional divisions, sown during the colonial era, persisted. These divisions threatened to undermine the unity and stability of the young nation. The political landscape, while seemingly democratic, was marred by power struggles and corruption. Leaders found themselves entangled in a web of competing interests and conflicting agendas. These underlying tensions would soon escalate, casting a long shadow over Nigeria's promising future. The hope and promise of independence were now tempered by the reality of internal strife. The hope and promise of independence remained palpable, but the challenges were becoming increasingly evident. The resilience of the Nigerian people would be put to the test as they navigated these turbulent times. Nigeria's journey towards a brighter future was just beginning, and the path ahead would be fraught with obstacles. Infrastructure development and community initiatives were crucial in this ongoing quest for progress. The nation's ability to overcome these challenges would determine whether it could fulfill its true potential. The spirit of hope and determination would be the driving force behind Nigeria's quest for greatness. The discovery of oil in commercial quantities in the Niger Delta during the 1950s marked a significant turning point in Nigeria's history. This event was seen as a beacon of hope, promising a future of prosperity and development for the nation. Initially hailed as a blessing, oil quickly transformed into a double-edged sword. It brought immense wealth and opportunities, but also unforeseen problems and challenges that would shape the country's future in complex ways. The influx of petrodollars fueled rapid economic growth, propelling Nigeria onto the global stage as a major oil exporter. The country experienced a surge in international trade and investment, which seemed to promise a bright economic future. The government invested heavily in infrastructure projects, education, and social welfare programs, aiming to distribute the newfound wealth. Roads, schools, and hospitals were built, and there was a sense of optimism about the nation's development trajectory. However, this economic boom came at a cost. The rapid influx of wealth led to significant disparities between the rich and the poor, and between urban and rural areas. The benefits of the oil wealth were not evenly distributed, leading to growing social tensions. Nigeria became increasingly reliant on oil revenue, neglecting other sectors such as agriculture and manufacturing. This overdependence on oil created a fragile economic structure vulnerable to external shocks and price fluctuations. This overdependence on a single commodity made the economy vulnerable to fluctuations in global oil prices. When prices were high, the economy boomed, but when they fell, the consequences were dire. When oil prices plummeted in the 1980s, Nigeria plunged into a severe recession, exposing the fragility of its oil-dependent economy. The economic downturn led to widespread hardship and highlighted the need for economic diversification. Moreover, the oil boom exacerbated existing social and regional inequalities. Wealth was concentrated in the hands of a few, while many regions, especially those not involved in oil production, were left behind. The Niger Delta region, where oil was extracted, suffered severe environmental degradation due to oil spills and gas flaring. The once fertile land and rich biodiversity were devastated, affecting the livelihoods of local communities. The indigenous communities in the region saw little benefit from the oil wealth, while facing the brunt of its negative consequences. Their lands were polluted, and their health and livelihoods were severely impacted, leading to widespread discontent. This fueled resentment and conflict between the oil-producing communities and the government, as well as between different ethnic groups vying for control of oil resources. The struggle for oil wealth led to violence and instability in the region. The oil boom had transformed Nigeria's economy, but it also deepened existing divisions and created new challenges. The nation faced the difficult task of managing its oil wealth while addressing the social and economic issues that arose. Corruption became rampant as government officials and their cronies siphoned off oil revenues for personal gain. This widespread corruption undermined public trust and hindered the country's development. The promise of shared prosperity remained largely unfulfilled, while the nation grappled with the unintended consequences of its newfound wealth. The challenges of managing oil wealth and ensuring equitable development continue to shape Nigeria's journey. The hope and optimism that characterized Nigeria's early years of independence were shattered by a series of military coups that began in 1966. The first coup, led by a group of young army officers, toppled the civilian government, citing corruption and mismanagement. This marked the beginning of a prolonged period of military rule that would last for decades, punctuated by brief interludes of civilian governance. Military rule had a devastating impact on Nigeria's political and economic development. The military governments were often authoritarian and repressive, suppressing dissent and human rights. The frequent changes in leadership created instability and discouraged foreign investment. Corruption flourished under military rule, as those in power enriched themselves at the expense of the nation. The constant threat of coups and counter-coups created a climate of fear and uncertainty. The military's involvement in politics undermined democratic institutions and eroded public trust in governance. The cycle of coups and instability had a profound impact on Nigeria's development trajectory, hindering its progress and exacerbating existing challenges. The legacy of military rule continues to cast a long shadow over Nigeria's political landscape. The country is still grappling with the consequences of decades of authoritarianism, corruption, and instability. Building strong democratic institutions, ensuring good governance, and upholding the rule of law remain ongoing challenges. challenges and unlock its true potential.